of the rocket, all day and night. The world is noisy, and that's alright. Every sound is just a beat.
Guys, you're on mute. You're being on mute.
Oh, there we go. So welcome back. Welcome back to this. This is the under 18 girls semi-final number 1. We're live from this sunny Llantwit Major on Sunday, the 2nd of October, for day 2 of the British Cup 2022. Action has recommenced. Our judges are on the water's edge to make sure that they get the best vantage point, and they're relaying scores to the tower. So we'll stick with live scores, not just for our benefit, but for the surfers in the water benefit as well. And I'm rejoined in the booth by someone who's been paddling about here and there in the wetsuit and using the surfboard of a competitor, of Logan Nichols' gear you've been using. So Tom, how was it?
Well, I tell you what, I come from a town, Porthcawl, right, and it's world renowned for its annual Elvis Festival. The Porthcawl Elvis Festival, you heard of it?
Of course, it was on last weekend, wasn't it?
It was last weekend, and I tell you what, I reckon I'd fancy my chances of being an Elvis impersonator more than I'd fancy my chances of being a Logan Nicol impersonator, because what that boy does is hard to do. I saw him surfing, grovelling over on the left earlier, having a little free surf, and he was really, really shredding. It's difficult. There is a horseshoe feel to the waves as they bend in. And you can see we are getting live scores as we go. And that's because the judges on the shoreline are relaying the scores back up to the tower. And that means competitors can then hear where they are in a heat. Yeah, so Claire glare can be an issue because we've got a sort of a almost due south-southwest, so almost due south-southwest facing stretch of coast here, and it can render the conditions a little bit challenging. And up and riding here on the front side,
I think this is Charlotte Mully.
Charlotte Mully. So Charlotte Mully, competing in both the juniors and the ladies. She's from Burley Heads. And so I'm guessing Charlotte Mully here alone. We spoke to her this morning, I think, didn't we?
She waved to her mum and dad at home.
While she was on the broadcast. So I don't know whether the mum and dad are still watching now. It would be very, very late at night if it is. But if you are watching,
surely they are.
Parents, guardians, / carers of Charlotte Mully, then good day or good middle of the night. Good muddle of the night to you.
Yellow, you're in first priority. Blue, you're in second priority. Last wave of
and we've got some score updates then, Robbo. So what's this situation looking like on the scores?
So the scores on the feed have not been input yet. I think they're focusing on giving them to the competitors. However, we might be able to see a screen with them on. So
yes, it's not impossible. And camera anchor Craig Nicol is working on that. We got a big production team around us that have made all of this possible today. I think it's a nice little chance to say a big thanks to them all, actually. And here we go, up and right in both directions. I think going left, that was Alice Barton again.
I agree.
And on the right, so getting the exact identity of who these people are can be a little bit challenging, but we can identify Charlotte Mully as the lone goofy foot in the heat. So if you are relatives of Charlotte Mully and watching from Queensland, you just need to watch the goofy footer and you know that that's your guy or that's your gal. Good standard of surfing in the water. I see here now Luke Dillon is walking along, and I will make an observation that the man is limping. So we had him in the booth earlier talking, didn't we? And he's got the cut that was on his foot wrapped up and in dressing. But Luke is not walking brilliantly comfortably, but he doesn't care. The job is done. Wounded warrior, as he described himself. He despite cutting his foot very badly in the early rounds of this event, Luke was able to turn in the highest score of the event to win the men's this morning. Or in fact, no, it was the highest score of the event in the semi-finals, wasn't it? And it was in the final he scored the highest single wave ridden by a male surfer during this event. And up and riding there now on the backhand, we have got a natural footer. I just noticed there, Rob, as you're rearranging the papers on the board in front of us, that there's a 5p coin still on the table, a 5p, or a nickel as it should be known. And this was the 5p earlier on that you won off me when I thought Alice Barton was getting an 8 and you thought she was getting less than an 8, and she got a 7.93. So by a 0. And look at this now, Charlotte Mully, and she's really going to town on this right-hander here now. So a nice big inside manoeuvre for Charlotte Mully. And that will put her into a good position here. So at the moment, as the scores start to come together, I think we've got a battle between Mully and Barton as things stand. And
we're still waiting for scores. The competitors know where they stand.
Yeah.
And
we'll
that's the
important thing.
To let you know where we stand.
But it's not going to take us long to get this up and running. There's a new system in place, and here we go. We've got the scores. And let's update you then. So the lead is held by Alice Barton. And a massive thanks to Tim Aylett, by the way, and the refresh system. So Alice Barton is leading this heat now, and she's got 2 scores of 4.33. So the judges are holding, and here we go, up and riding again. And I think that is Lola Mitchell for Scotland. So we've got the 2 Scottish girls in the ladies in the under-18 girls final. Yeah, Alice Barton's in the lead. And yeah, that was Callie Cruikshank. So Alice Barton leads 2 waves in the 4 range. Second place is Charlotte Mully as things stand. And Charlotte Mully has got a 3.5 and a 3.07 and needs a 5.16 to go into the lead. Third is Lola Mitchell. She would need a 4.4 to go into second. And Callie Cruikshank of Scotland would need... So we've got the 2 Scots, the 2 English. At the moment, the 2 English are sitting in the advancing positions. So the glare making things challenging, but it's not stopping the one of our camera angles from being able to do a pretty good job of seeing the surfing that's going on. And then we've got director Diana choosing the pictures for you, and the team then completed out by camera anchor Craig and Max Aylesbury, aka you can look him up as Survival Stance. He's one of our camera guys today. Producer Dodd, I think he's gone surfing, Producer Dodd. Producer Dodd was the one who turned up with all the power tools this morning and drilled into the ground to bore for fresh water and things like that. Stuck the satellite cable through the rocks, wired it under the sea a la Marconi, and then have I left anyone out here now from our team that's on hand?
Well, we had
Rhys Edwards yesterday, didn't we? Of Scrum 5 fame, and Rhys is a very good director producer. Spends a lot of his time doing rugby in the US, Major League Rugby. It's quite interesting. Really, really interesting to learn about how surfing can learn from some of the sports, some of those other sports. Speaking of other sports,
whilst you were in the water, I had a video call from Connor, who's there
in NFL London.
Who's taking his seat.
Yeah, so I'm guessing the kickoff is around the 2:30 mark.
We see a surfer up and riding right now. It's very difficult to see who this is. It looks like it may have been surfing in blue Lola Mitchell, I think. We'll wait to see what the judges say about it. But I think we're also getting some scores on the screen at last. Fantastic. So you guys can stay updated at home. And we'll do our best to talk you through the action as it happens. We are about 250 meters from the sea right now, maybe 200 meters, and the sun is glaring down, and that light is refracting and glaring straight into our retinas. So it's making our job tough from where we're sitting, but we're not going to complain. We'll just do our very best. So apologies if we get anything slightly wrong.
So scores dropping, and we've got scores coming in for both Barton and Mully, the 2 leaders. And in fact, everyone's now got a score to come in. And the important scores will be Lola Mitchell looking to get into the second position. She'd need a 4.4. And Callie Cruikshank needs a little bit more. So as things stand in London, it's a 7-6 lead to the Minnesota Vikings. So my team's the Saints, and I'm just trying to see if I can figure out where those points have come from, because that's either a touchdown for the Saints with a missed conversion, or it's 2 field goals. So we'll see what we can work out. I bet you're dying to know, Rob.
Go on.
Yeah, your mate has seen a touchdown for both sides, but he's seen a missed extra point for the Saints, which is unusual because their kicker, Will Lutz, is very reliable normally.
I'll ask him who he's supporting, and then I can tell you what his reaction will be.
Yeah. I think the Minnesota Vikings are the favourites. Okay. And it is a New Orleans home game. So what they tend to do in London is they for the sort of spectacle purposes, they do treat the game as a home game. Okay. So they'll give the crowd black and gold flags to wave. They will bring the Saints out to huge plumes of fire and noise, and they'll do all the stuff that makes it a New Orleans home game. And then usually what happens is that the London crowd agrees to go along with it. And here we've got a set coming through there. And we're going to have a surfer up and riding here on the front side. And this, I believe, is Lola Mitchell from Scotland. So looking for a 4.4. I'm not quite sure she's going to get there with that. No, that was, in fact, it's Callie Cruikshank. Because it's Callie Cruikshank that's just lost the priority. She needs a 6.64. So Barton and Mully are slowly building an increasingly secure lead in this heat at the moment. Yeah, so I don't know if, unless the Saints kicker is injured, it's very unusual for Will Lutz to miss an extra point. And I'll tell you why an extra point being missed is so rare. No, it was not. I said 7-6. The extra point hadn't been taken. It's now 7-7.
It was live action.
So it wasn't a missed extra point at all. It was so live that the Saints touchdown was but seconds ago. So it's 7-7. So that's an equalising touchdown for the Saints, but of course that means that they've now given they'll be putting the Vikings into possession.
But seconds ago, Tom, we also saw surfer in blue Lola Mitchell have a ride. Has that score dropped yet?
No, they're still looking at that. So
I've heard back from my friend in the stadium, Tom.
Oh yeah?
He says not really fussed on this game. Just hope the officials have a good game and everyone gets home safely.
A strange thing to say.
I think it's said it tongue in cheek. He'll definitely have a team.
Right. Now there's a bizarre little bit going up here because we've got extra point no good and extra point good both being said. So I got a feeling that your mate may well have seen an extra point forced to be retaken due to some sort of infringement.
I see.
At the line of scrimmage, that would be my guess. So, priority now with Barton. No, Mully with priority. Barton with second priority. So, Mully improves her situation with a 3.53 and goes a little bit further ahead. So that means that Callie Cruikshank, who's now gone up into second, needs a pretty decent score of a 5. So both white and blue would now need the highest score of the round to go into or of the heat to go into second. And do we have a timer there? It's we're inside of 5 minutes, aren't we?
So we've got 2 minutes and 10 seconds remaining.
So I think realistically it's not going to be done on 2 waves. So Cruikshank and Mitchell both on the inside, both paddling back out, both needing priority, both needing the highest score of the heat. So it's looking increasingly secure for the advancement of Barton and Mully to the final. And I don't think, Rob, if anyone told you that the first 2 finalists were Barton and Mully in the junior girls today, that there would be too many people acting surprised at that news, do you?
No, they both competitors. In fact, all competitors in this heat, Tom, have been on somewhat of a tear through the event. Alice Barton, of course, posting one of the highest individual wave scores and heat totals of anyone in the event in any division. So certainly no surprise there.
And winning the ladies' final already today at a canter. And
Mully demonstrating that smooth style that we've talked about and that power that we've talked about throughout the event as well. Throughout pretty much every heat and every round thus far. So no big surprise there. But great to see them battling it out now as well. With 1 minute remaining on the clock.
Last wave from yellow.
Situation.
So Barton pushes further into the lead there with a 6.17.
Red, you were second. White, you were third.
And
white, you need a 5.00 to move to second.
Coming up in the next one,
Blue, you were fourth.
we've got Tegan Blackford.
You need a 4.86.
And she and Belle Bettridge, the 2 English surfers in this next heat.
30 seconds remaining.
They both would have something to say about you and I describing Barton and Mully as the form surfers of the event. They would be wanting to immediately lay their own claims to that. So Blackford and Bettridge both been on a tear so far. Josie Hawke, and Indy Lynch from Wales. So 2 English, 2 Welsh. So far, 2 English, 2 Scottish in the first semi, and it's two. Well, it's England, Scotland, Scotland. Will Wales be able to do something about that shape of things to come, or is it things to come? We'll see in the next heat very shortly.
Lay beside me, wake the morning, ever after, day reborn in oh, we're taking the high road. I'm setting the sun, I'm ready to run, I'm walking a tightrope. I give you the fall, spring singing a song, we're taking the high road. We're taking the high road. We're finally awakened, we're taking the high road.
And so we're getting ready to start the second of the girls' semi-finals, and then that'll leave us with the 2 finals to run. So I would be guessing that Barton and Mully would be sorely tempted to stay in their wetsuits, but I don't know. Well, they'll have dry robes, won't they?
There's plenty of dry robes.
Yeah, it's not warm.
It's pretty
At
warm.
the moment, you come out of the sea in a wetsuit, in a 3-2 wetsuit, stand around. I don't think it'll take you that
See,
long
So
to cool down in that wind.
whilst you surfed, I snoozed. Well, yeah, I did. in the
We have,
sun.
by the way, a photo of Craig Nichols snoozing on my Instagram that I saw earlier
did
on,
see.
alongside some poetry, because I know you're
You go
Keats.
Keats.
A thing of beauty is a joy forever.
Forever.
The full quote: "A thing of beauty is a joy forever. It will never pass into nothingness." And Craig Nichol, he
Atop
certainly fits that.
Craig Nichol atop the cabin.
So Rob,
Topless.
we were talking earlier about the Corvinus bird variety as well, and while we're waiting for this next heat to begin, you were saying that you like doing a bit of a poetry stomp. Would you like to have a go
Ooh.
at some Corvinus themed poetry?
Go on then.
This is a really famous one here. Let's try this one. It's The Raven by Edgar Allan Poe. Simpsons fans may recognise it. Famous lines.
Should I do a voice?
Go on.
Once upon a midnight dreary, while I pondered weak and weary over many a quaint and curious volume of forgotten lore, while I nodded, nearly napping, suddenly there came a tapping, as of someone gently rapping at my chamber door. "'Tis some visitor," I muttered, tapping at my chamber door, "only this and nothing more."
Very good. Now you test me, right? I'll do the next verse. Ready?
Okay.
Distinctly I remember it was in the bleak December, or was it November? December, and each separate dying ember wrought its ghost upon the floor. Eagerly I had sought to borrow from my books surcease of sorrow. Have I left a word out?
Eagerly I wished the morrow.
Wished the morrow.
Vainly I had sought.
Vainly I had sought to borrow from my books surcease of sorrow, sorrow for the lost Lenore, for the rare and radiant maiden whom the angels named Lenore. Oh, nameless here forevermore.
Bang on. Well done.
Right, your turn.
Damn.
Rob's got the words.
And the silken, sad, and certain
that's
rustling of
great.
each purple curtain
Filled
me with fantastic terrors never felt
Fantastic terrors never felt before. What
So
a
that
wonderful
now,
idea.
to still the beating of my heart, I stood repeating, "'Tis some visitor entreating entrance at my chamber door."
Do you know, the timing is incredible because there is a visitor entreating entrance at the chamber door as you speak. Now, the next line of the poem is, "This is it and nothing more," but this is not nothing more, because as this heat starts, that visitor entreating entrance at our chamber, it's spooky. It's like the Raven, the spirit of the Raven
But
is
he's
with
telling
us.
us that Matt Stevens
It's Matt
is
Stephen.
ready to come in.
It's Matt Stephen, my favourite surfer as a grommet growing up. I think he's finishing a pasty first. If I'd known that when I was in some of my more vintage years that I would sit alongside Matt Stephen after waiting for him to finish a pasty so that I could talk to him about surfing, or just to talk to him about anything, I would have been blown away. This man, when I was a kid, he was as awe-inspiring as if I'd seen any international pro in the water. Fantastic surfer, still is. Busy man though, Matt Stephen. He's here as a corporate representative of the event sponsors, Whistler and Sister. And up and riding there now on the backhand, we have. Start of the heat is difficult to work out who's who.
2 of the under 18 girls. Following this heat, we have under 18 boys
So
final.
we haven't yet got dropping in whoever the score was. So I think we're going to be. It's the beginning of the heat here, where the glare, and with us being so far separated from the judges, it's at the beginning of the heat that we are most likely to be unsure as to who's ridden a wave. So the first wave was Tegan Blackford. So I know that because there is now a little beach ball signal in Tegan Blackford's column. So a score is about to drop for Tegan Blackford at 1.17.
First wave for red, a 1.1.
So Blackford's got her account underway. And then once that happens, we'll be able to tell who's who by who's just lost priority. So we should now see a nice 4 drop up alongside Tegan Blackford's name for the priority. Of the conversations we've had with folk around the site today, one of my favourites, I did enjoy Luke Dillon telling me about the off-the-record sledging that was taking place between him.
Oh, we love sledging.
And Stanley Norman. That was quite interesting to hear about. And you could tell that Luke was really, really, really pleased having taken down that event today, can't you?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think that the aforementioned sledging,
we can see,
although he didn't say it.
do you know, I can see almost striking distance there now is Lucas Skinner. He's getting ready for his heat. And he's putting his vest on. He looks pretty chill, doesn't he?
Yeah, it's calm, cool, calm and collected. Further
Hey Lucas, do you want to come and have a
further to what we were saying a moment ago
If you're concentrating, you don't have to.
about Luke, I think that sledging that he mentioned actually made the victory even sweeter. He didn't go as far as saying it, but you could a little glint in his eye when he said it.
Good luck. So we got an open window. I just shouted good luck to Lucas Skinner there. Round pin. He's going in with a round pin. There, that was it. It just went past the screen. If we had a replay, it's not impossible that we can see Lucas Skinner's tail. Let's have a look at this now. So we see the ocean now. Watch this. It'll go by. It'll go by. Lucas Skinner's round pin tail. Here we go. What's a replay function for if not for this? Oh, there it was.
Oh, worth the wait, I'm sure. No one will.
A round pin tail.
Worth a try.
It was worth a try, wasn't it? So we're still waiting for one of the other surfers to put a score on the board at the moment.
Just to repeat for anybody that's only just joined us, because the feed's not been long on. We are quite a distance from the surface in the water. The sun is directly overhead, casting an awful lot of glare our way. So it's very difficult for us to see from where we are. So we're using a combination of what we can see in person, what we can see on screen, and the scores and priority as they change to talk you guys through what we're seeing and what we think is happening in the water. So do forgive us if we get any names momentarily wrong, or if we give any information that's not quite accurate. We will endeavour to give you accurate information and to correct anything that we get wrong. Our judges, fortunately, are right on the water's edge, and they're relaying their scores up into the booth, so live scores continue, live updates continue for the surfers in the water, and it ensures that the judges are recording accurate scores for the surfers. This glare really is a bit of a nightmare on any west-facing beach at this time of year in Britain. The sun is just
Yellow, you're in first priority. Red, you're in
pretty
second
much rendering us
priority.
blind up here.
Blue, you're in third priority. White, you're in fourth priority.
So the situation as it stands, we are waiting for a score from yellow. That's Bell Bettridge, and we're waiting for a score from red. That's Tegan Blackford. In this England versus Wales duel, or we're seeing almost more than a duel, isn't it? What would it be? 4 people. Wales versus
It'd be a
England.
battle, wouldn't it?
Battle, yes. Why not?
2 on 2.
To
A Royal Rumble.
Tegan Blackford of England.
Obviously,
Bell
not all
Bettridge
of the Welsh
of
surfers would want to
England.
call it a Royal Rumble. Since
Josie
there's been some
Hawke
debate.
of Wales and Indy Lynch of Wales. So the last of red drops in at a 2.67. So Tegan Blackford, last score comes in at 2.67. She solidifies her place in the lead. Bell Bettridge comes in at a 2.57. So last of yellow, 2.57, which means she leapfrogs both Hawke and Lynch and moves into second position with just one wave ridden. One wave ridden also, I should say, for Josie Hawke in white of Wales and Indy Lynch of Wales in blue. Indy Lynch sitting on a 0.83. Josie Hawke on a 1.33. I can't imagine that those scores will be in their top 2 come the end of this heat. They'll be looking to replace those. Indy Lynch needs just a 1.75 to move into second. Josie Hawke needs just a 1.25 to move into second. Those second, the reason they're targeting second position is because first 1 and 2 get into the final, and that's what they're going for here in semi-final number 2. Coming up next, we have got the under-18 boys final featuring Craig McLaughlin of Scotland, Kieran Smith of England, Lucas Skinner of England, and Eli Perrins-Davis of Wales. So quite the heat to come after this. But for now, our attention will be sharply focused on the action in the water. Trying our best to see through the glare.
In red, Craig McLaughlin.
Indy Lynch of Wales is in 4th. Josie Hawke of Wales is in 3rd. Bell Bettridge of England is in 2nd. And out in front is Tegan Blackford of England. A narrow lead at this point. Josie Hawke has just posted another score. The judges are keying it in. It's a 0.87, so it doesn't actually change anything. Josie still requires a 1.25, so that would have been a quick up and down. And in and out. But with 12 minutes remaining in this heat, still time aplenty for our competitors to change the situation entirely. It's very warm in this booth. It's October the 2nd, and I am Trisho. Very warm.
You're feeling a bit Smith, are you?
I'm a bit Smith.
Smith, of course, we've been learning is the Llantwit word for either hot or cold. I tell you what, I've heard a lot of people talk this weekend about how warm it is in here. I have not heard, as we get a ride there for the surfer in white, Josie Hawke, and up and riding behind her, I think that might be Bell Bettridge in the red. I think it was, or in fact, yes, it was Tegan Blackford. No, it was Tegan Blackford in the red, yeah. So Bell Bettridge in the yellow is now out back with priority. I have not heard Director Diana worry about the heat once. Not once. Is that because you're used to the heat in Galicia, or are you just a bit less of a moaner than all the guys? What do you reckon?
I'm good actually. I'm not too hot, so.
That's the thing. When you come from, is that because you're used to the hot weather, or you just not a wimp?
Yeah, it's nice. It's warm. It's nice, but I won't say it's hot.
No.
Warm. Yeah, I will say it's warm, but not hot. It's nice.
Do you know, I remember some of the hottest weather I've ever encountered in my life was out near where you live, in the town of Padron, famous for the Padron peppers, which are really tasty. Sorry, you were going to say something, Diana?
So I have to say that water is warmer here than in Galicia. So I think in summer you get to have like 18 degrees or 19 degrees here or 20. And in Galicia and more in the Cantabria, that coast with the Atlantic as well, like 16, 17 throughout the whole summer. So you are always with 3-2. Yeah, you cannot really surf in shorts. But here is great because you you can surf in body shorts. So
I completely agree with you. Yeah, up and right in there on the right-hander. So this is probably Tegan Blackford now spending her priority, looking to replace a low score of 1.67. And I think we'll wait and see now. And I think it was Belle Bettridge. So the priority is yet to update, but we've got the surfers coming in. And we're shortly going to be joined by an absolute hero of mine. And so it was Belle Bettridge, so she gets a 2.8. She jumps up into the lead, which means that the surfer in red, Tegan Blackford, is now looking to play defense. She's now the next surfer in line for those elimination positions. She's got to replace a 1.17. Josie Hawke in the white. She is now the Welsh surfer. She's in third. She holds priority though. And Josie Hawke is waiting out there. She's going to be needing to spend her priority wisely to try to pick up a 2.52. The man that we were speaking about earlier is here. It's Matt Stephen, as I live and breathe. I don't know if we've got the studio cam up and running, have we? So you'll have to just make do with the dulcet tones of his voice for now. Afternoon, Spud.
Afternoon, guys. Ooh, 2.2. I'll take this one then.
Yeah,
Hi,
as
guys,
close to the mouth as you can.
Closer?
That's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Never know how far to hold these things.
It's a beautiful afternoon for it.
It's wonderful. Yeah, definitely. I chose the right half of the day to come up, I think, as well.
Yeah. How does this compare to your experience of the British Cup from back in the day? You know, when would your last British Cup would have been? What, the early 2000s?
No, I was 90s. I don't know if I did one in the 2000s. 90s, early 90s was when most of the British Cups.
If I pull out my geeky box of surfing knowledge, I remember a British Cup won by Jem Evans in Wales, and I thought you were in the final with him. Yeah, and I thought you were in a final with him.
There was one at Freshwater, yeah.
And you had a JP twin fin with these glassed-in wooden fins, and I think you did actually use it in a heat, a la Tom Curran.
Yeah, I did.
And the famous one from the 90s, it was Tom Curran against Matt Hoy, wasn't it? When Tom Curran psyched Matt Hoy out going into water. And I remember you surfing on that 20, and there was you used the 20 for at least one of those heats, I seem to remember.
I remember, yeah, because it was Johnny James's board.
But because Jem took it home that day.
Yeah, well, we were all fighting over it in the end.
Yeah, right.
Because JP just made it. I'll wait for that.
So Matt's just waiting for the beach announcer to stop.
I can't remember what I'm trying to think of the name of the board, but they named it. Like, give it
it was a beautiful board.
And we were all fighting over it, but I managed to get it for a heat or two.
Yeah.
And then, Jem took it home, didn't he?
Jem took it home, and it was in Porthcawl for a little while then, and I borrowed it as well. I had a few surfs on it. Obviously, never able to emulate anything like the figures that you were drawing on wave faces on that thing. But yeah, I reckon that's 2002.
Yeah, that might be. That was probably one of the last.
Yeah, and then I think the British Cup. It did take a little bit of a period where the British Cup wasn't as important an event, because what happened was that team selection for world contests went to the devolved nations. So for a while there was a Wales team, a Scotland team. I think there was a Channel Islands team. When you went to the Worlds, Rob, was there a Channel Islands team there in the south of France?
That was the first devolved Worlds, 2017. So I don't know about your dates there. That was for the Worlds, though. For Europeans, obviously, we've had devolved teams for years and years and years. But 2017 was the first devolved teams at the Worlds.
Yeah, it was the Europeans that
Europeans.
we were all fighting against each other.
Yeah.
But but there was still qualification for the Worlds, but for the GB team, and that was what the British Cups were.
British Cups, yeah.
And
then that's come back because of the Olympic status.
Yeah, so Same horse, different jockey, but yeah.
Yeah.
But
And up and riding here now on the front side, that is going to be one of the Welsh girls. I'll tell you who as soon as I see priority go. That was Josie Hawk. So she was looking for a 4.04 and a big blast on the backhand there by Belle Bettridge. So just I'm helping because Spud is going to call some of this action with us.
and we can
We
see
know
it now
we
as well.
know who the surfer is because we can watch the surfing on that screen. We got a replay. What do you think of that wave, Matt?
Look at that one. Right, let's. Oh, I just missed at the end. Right, here we go. Is this? So who's this one?
This is Belle Bettridge.
Oh, this is Belle.
England.
Is it? Okay, no, she went the wrong way really, but nice little turn, but just short wave.
Yeah. And then the way that we know the colours, Matt, is because we see which of the surfers loses priority seconds after catching a wave.
Ah, see. Right,
So
okay.
that's how we're doing it at the moment. It's
So screen 1, screen 2, lose priority, and then you know who it is.
yeah.
Okay, right. As long as it's easy.
Yeah. And then
Here we
I
go.
believe
Paddling.
there we go up and riding. So that will
Cut
be
back.
Tegan Blackford.
Oh, she got a little reform here.
And now this has got the potential to be one of the
Keep
highest
going.
scores in
Is
the
she
heat.
going to get through?
She's
Wow, she did well to get.
looking
Oh.
to replace a 2.67. Think she's got that?
Well, that is actually the first wave I've watched the completion. Really, I'm not seeing the scores, but I would say yes. But I haven't seen any of the previous scores, so I can't really comment. But
Yeah.
that she did 2 turns, got
Now,
pretty much all the way in.
I think that
And looking at the
director
conditions,
Diana has got us a replay of that wave, so we can have it. But we're just going to see whether there's another wave ridden first, and there isn't. So we'll have a little look at this wave now. We can see it on the replay screen. Here it comes. So this is Tegan Blackford,
yeah, I'd say given the conditions, she rode that pretty well.
and now I'm trying to remember. I think is Tegan Blackford a Crantock surfer, or was she somewhere in the Cornwall area? I don't want to get that wrong actually, so I'm going to keep quiet. Her and her sister Eva Blackford, both very good surfers, and then we got riding on the inside now, looking at a reform, and that'll be, I believe that'll be Josie Hawk, just on account of who suddenly finds themselves without a priority
Right,
slot.
Okay.
So we know now that red outlaw alone, first priority Tegan Blackford. Tegan Blackford.
So what was the score on that last wave, so I can
And
give myself the scale?
so we got the scores coming now. So Indy Lynch is about to receive a score. I think the drone is going up in the air, which might give us a better idea of colours. And so that wave of Belle Bettridge got a 4.27.
Was that was Belle, not Tegan?
That
it?
was
It
Belle. That was the
right.
one manoeuvre wave that we were watching.
Okay, yeah. So we're waiting on scores for Tegan.
And we got the Tegan one, and it was a 3.
I think that might be the other way.
Oh, the other way round.
right. Okay. So it was Belle on her forehand and Tegan the short back.
Tegan on the back.
That would make more sense. So 4-2. Yeah, there you go.
So
Right,
you
I'm
can
in
see
tune with the scale.
Yeah, and then up and riding here, this will be, I'm guessing, this is either Indy Lynch or Josie Hawk. That's Josie.
And who have we got? England,
Hawk.
Wales. Oh,
Yeah, at the moment, it's looking like it's going to be England, Wales. So Matt is here as a representative of Whistler and Sister, the event, or Sister Evolution. Do we use the two words?
Everyone says sister. And we say sister internally as well. It's
Sister.
sister, but officially Sister Evolution.
So these are the two brands. Now, is Sister so called because it is the sister of Whistler, or are they not necessarily under one stable? Oh, we've got something. We've got a swap around of first and second. So Belle Bettridge in that exchange has gone into the lead, but we haven't had a change. Now we're into the last minute, so we should probably have a quick turn our attentions to this heat, because it's not impossible that either of the surfers in third and fourth can get their fives. However, the problem is they don't have priority, and I will say that Belle Bettridge and Tegan Blackford are both very, very well rehearsed in the use of priority, and so they're not likely to give up the opportunity to another surfer to take a wave off them in the closing half minute of the heat.
And they have 2 decent scores.
And they got decent scores.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough.
So blue needs a 5, 4 needs a 5.54. We've got 20 seconds left, and neither of them have priority. So it looks like we're going to be counting this one down with an England, Wales final result. And the next heat is going to be, well, there we go. The final is now going to be all 4 English girls. And so the first semi-final was England, Scotland, and the second semi-final
3, 2,
was
1.
England, Wales.
So an all English final.
So before we ask Spud a few questions, we'll actually jump to an advert for one of those companies.
Please not stand up on your phone.
Okay, so we're joined, Rob and I, by Matt Stephen. I have said this before on another occasion of interviewing Matt, that when I was a Grom, Matt Stephen was my favourite surfer. And told a lengthy story yesterday about attempts to impress him as a teenager when I'm sure he wasn't even looking. He probably doesn't know that story. I won't bore you all with it again a second time. Matt Stephen, a very decorated surfer from, I suppose, the peak of your career would be the early 90s.
Yeah, early 90s.
For a long time, Matt was, and here we go, up and riding the start of the boys. And this is the surfer in blue, Eli Perrins-Davis, and he
Good
gets
start
off
for
to
him.
a start.
Good start.
And then we did have somebody go right at the start of that heat as well. This is now a 25-minute heat.
Oh, and another one, all action.
A huge frontside gouge and a second frontside gouge. And we'll see if we can pick up a colour for who that was. So we got 3 surfers all riding a wave there. Craig McLaughlin is your surfer in red, the Scotsman. And Kieran Smith, English surfer, is in the white. Colourful wetsuit, Kieran Smith. He's been surfing well. And Kieran Smith is one of those surfers who's built a performance as he's gone through the rounds. Lower scores in the earlier rounds, but kept doing what he needed to do. But now here he is in the final. Lucas Skinner. He has been surfing hot to trot, or actually in Llantwit, I should say Smith to trot, since the early rounds, and he's been holding it together all the way through. Undoubtedly the event favourite, the European Under-16 champion. And then Eli Perrins-Davis, Welsh number 3, I believe, from last year's Welsh, was unwell yesterday, so didn't compete in the men's for Wales, but did take his place in the juniors. Survived yesterday's heats, and now today is feeling a lot better, and here he is with a finals berth. So Matt, let's come back to
Yes.
you've spent your career. First of all, we got a surfing career. One of the only surfers for a very long time to have won both the Open and a juniors at the Welsh.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Did you ever win a British Cup?
I won some British Cups, yeah.
Some British Cups. I
Yeah.
love it.
As a junior and the Open, but
Okay.
there was British Cups and British Nationals. It was a little bit
Okay.
more confusing.
Win
I
any
thought.
British Nationals as well?
I never won a British Nationals.
So
I
you won British
finalled
Cups.
on a lot of times, but never
Okay.
won the actual Nationals,
Okay. And
which is quite handy for me now. You're calling it a British Cup because I can say I won a British Cup.
we say you're a former event winner, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good point. So I'm joined by former multiple British Cup champion Matt Stephen, and Matt Stephen is here today as a representative of, as we see,
backside.
taking to the water on the backside here.
Is that Mr. Skinner?
That is surfer in yellow, Lucas Skinner. So he opens his account. So we'll be seeing some scores drop. Just a quick in and out for Craig McLaughlin, a 1. Not gonna. He'll be hoping that that's not one of his top 2.
Great to see a Scots guy in. Are we in the final? We are in the
If it's
final.
the final.
Yeah,
It's a really good point, Matt. It is.
I haven't seen that at a British for a long time, so it's really really good to see the Scots doing well.
Really resurgent now.
For what it's worth as well, Craig McLaughlin was one of our picks yesterday, wasn't he? He was absolutely on fire, on a tear. When the contest moved across to the left-hand side at the low tide, he was the standout.
Up and
Yeah, he
riding.
posted, I think,
Kieran
an
Smith,
8-point ride, and it was
the English
absolutely
surfer.
superb.
Bit of pumping work, and he kicks out of that one.
No, it's great. The more home nations that getting people in the final means more competition all round. I'm really happy to see that.
Someone giving it, and I think that was McLaughlin just then, giving a left a bashing. And we might be able to get a replay of that last of McLaughlin. I'm not sure. We'll have a look at how far back the replay function took us. And I think we've got
The waves look better on the drone, don't they?
great.
Is that?
Great footage.
No, that's
So Matt, from that career then, where you won a couple of British Cups, as you said, you've then spent a career in the surf industry. Oh, and up and riding on the front side now. Is this a surfer in yellow? In and out. Well, it's going to be his second score on the board though. 3.1 was his first score, and so that'll be a quick backup because he's building house. Surf industry now then, Matt. So
yes.
we keep getting every time I start interviewing Matt, we get some action in the lineup. And Matt, then you worked Billabong, who were your main sponsor as a surfer, weren't they?
Yes, that's I was sponsored by Billabong and knew the guys down there.
Natural progression then to repping for them.
I actually left to get a real serious, real world job for a few years.
Did you?
And met someone in Cornwall then and was moaning to them about how I hated my job and everything. And he said to come and work for him, and that was.
And that was that.
That was a long time ago. I was 23 when I started with them, and 50 there, so 27 years ago.
So then, from there, you worked. I think you did some time in those double overhead years, didn't you? Working for those various brands.
Yeah, well, that was with double overhead originally because they were the.
Oh, they were the Billabong
Billabong
licensees as well, weren't they? Yeah. And now, Whistler and Sister. So, talk to us about those brands and how they've come to associate themselves with the surf industry and what they mean to surf culture.
Right, well, Whistler is the original of the two brands, and that was started back in 2013 by Paul Nordine and Derek O'Neill.
Okay.
Both ex-Billabong.
Right.
And they saw a gap in the market for a new surf brand with their wealth of surf industry knowledge. They could see the, I don't want to say demise, but the potential for gaps in the market. So they started a brand.
Yeah.
And I guess you could say they knew a lot of the mistakes because they'd made them in previous companies, and knew a lot of the manufacturers. So managed to get probably within a year where a lot of brands wouldn't be able to get in 10 years. So quickly became, a big part of surfing, and that was, and it's just gone from strength to strength. It's been really taken well and doing really well, and in the UK doing really well. And then basically 4 or 5 years ago, I can't remember the exact date, should do, Sister was born from a need for there to be a very similar feeling in a girls brand. And
right.
That's where that came from.
Yeah.
So, and two of them together go hand in hand really well. They're not called Sister because it is Whistler's sister, although it is, but it's just another brand with the same sort of feeling of creativity, creative freedom, and just a love of the ocean.
Great. And with 10 minutes left or coming up to the 10-minute mark in this heat, this is around about the halfway mark. We'll take another look at Whistler's brand identity here. So we can see there now we got this lovely drone angle of all four surfers sitting there now having a look, and here we go up and riding. We got Lucas Skinner in the yellow.
Nice. And
getting the work done here, in and out. So some scores are on the board.
That was a well-ridden wave.
It was a well-surfed wave.
Yeah.
So we've got, as we stood, Eli Perrins-Davis so far has still ridden only the one wave. I'm pretty confident that was Lucas Skinner who rode a wave just then. The drone angle, I think, reveals colours a little bit better, doesn't it?
So how long have we got left?
So 11 minutes left.
Is that drone angle on the webcast, or is it just?
It's the TV,
us?
yeah. The one on the screen
is what's
that
showing
says
on the
program
TV.
Is what's being watched.
So
Diana is choosing those images there. See, I love it. Matt's in the booth and he's interested in the workings of it all. We'll have you for the buttons now, so Diana can go and have a break.
This is
Eli Perrins Davis. Here he goes, second wave. So he's got a bit of work to do here.
Come on, Eli.
Pushing it a bit.
No bias.
No,
Vizsla
Spud, you're
rider.
allowed bias. Matt's a proud Welshman.
Welsh and Vizsla rider.
A Welshman. Oh, is he, Eli's a Vizsla rider
He
as well?
is, yeah.
Oh, right. Okay, that's interesting. And Vizsla then getting involved in supporting British surfing, and up and riding here now on the front side. This is the surfer in white, Kieran Smith.
Well, that was a
And
very
he
fine
is
wave.
going to be staking his claim to a decent score there too. Last of Lucas Skinner then, a 4.6. I'll say it as quick as I can now before Callum on the beach announcer shouts it down all of our throats. And then we've got within that, Perrins Davis got a 2.93 for his last wave. So that still leaves McLaughlin out in the lead with a 5 and a 5.23. And the 5.23, I think, was on our picture just before Perrins Davis. So Red's up into the lead. And you'll see on your scoreboard now, ladies and gentlemen at home, we don't show a score needed to get to second. We don't play advancing positions at this stage of events now. We play only what the surfers need to go to first. So you can see there, Lucas Skinner now needs a 5.63. Kieran Smith needs a 6.4, and Eli Perrins Davis needs a 7.06. Now, for Perrins Davis, sitting in fourth place there, your boy, Matt, your Vizsla rider and Welsh compatriot, he's in fourth place, but third priority. Up and riding now, Kieran Smith in the white, and he comes off. So there we see. Now, Perrins Davis, he's straight up into second priority there. So Lucas Skinner must have gone up and down on one as well. There is a surfer up and riding, and that was
again,
Lucas.
and there's more action. Here we go. And there's Red. It's McLaughlin.
This is the heat leader.
Wow, he is really ripping, isn't he?
Scottish
Yeah.
surfer. That is
Well,
that
to
is
be
what
fair,
Scottish surfing now looks like.
That was a very well surfed wave. I'm very
Matt,
impressed
I
with
think
that one.
you're seeing that guy in Vizsla clothes up there in Scotland now, aren't you? Or you might want sister clothes. You don't know.
never know. You never
You
know.
know, it's a fluid. If the world's a fluid place nowadays.
Well, fair dues. He's probably strengthened his position with that one, I would say.
I
So
think you're probably right, Matt.
he's going to be tough to catch.
Yeah, beautiful. Look at that sun on the Vale, on the coast. Look at the sunlit sea. Wonderful stuff. Rob, what's your take on the action so far?
I've been enjoying the quick turnaround actually in this heat. So we've seen Lucas Skinner keeping really, really busy, and he's been in the lead for much of the heat. But all of a sudden, with the last three waves ridden by McLaughlin, he's just jumped up into first. And that last of Red, Craig McLaughlin, as anticipated by Matt Stephen, has come in at a 5.90. So not only has he strengthened his position, but he's posted his highest scoring wave of the heat, and indeed the highest scoring wave of the heat thus far.
5.9.
Yeah, he's really ripping. I'm very impressed with this.
So
The young Scotsman. So
I think the thing that he's been doing really well is he has used priority to make sure he is on the biggest and best waves in this heat, whereas we've seen surfer in yellow second Lucas Skinner has kept really busy, not really paid too much attention to priority, and had lots of lower scoring waves, although saying that his two most recent scoring waves are his best. McLaughlin has only caught 4 waves. 3 of those have scored above a 5.
yeah, he's played his hand pretty well here, hasn't he? He's gotten on the best waves, got the best scores. So it's all down to Lucas. Can he?
I think it was Vorney earlier said, I think maybe Vorney and Luke Dillon both said the same thing. At a spot such as Llantwit, where it changes by the second with the outgoing tide or the incoming tide, depending on when you're surfing it, and that rip, local sort of patience is a virtue out here, isn't it? Make sure you're on those bigger and better waves.
Definitely.
So we have got a little over 5 minutes remaining in this heat. The
Looking-
situation as it stands is surfer in blue from representing Wales, Eli Perrins-Davies, is currently in fourth. He's looking for a 7.96 to jump into first. He has got first priority, so patience may be very important for him to wait for those bigger waves. Kieran Smith, surfer in white, is currently in third. He's looking for a 7.3 for first. Lucas Skinner, surfer in yellow, is in second. He needs a 5.44 for first. And out in front is the surfer from Scotland in red, who I know has impressed Matt.
He has, yeah. I'm just trying to squint at the scores there. So, yeah, he's had 3 good ones, like you say, and Lucas has had lots of them, and just caught fire a little bit in the middle. So, yeah, he needs to sit it out.
Still a good score from Lucas there, 5.7. Does make the requirement of a 5.44 very attainable for him.
Here we go. Let's see who's this now.
Lucas Skinner has got priority, and that is Kieran Smith. So, and Perrins-Davies has ridden a wave at some point in that exchange as well, because I was about to say that Lucas Skinner's, or that Craig McLaughlin's best friend in the heat at that point was Perrins-Davies, who had priority and could have pulled the blocking manoeuvre on Skinner. But now, this is the bit where McLaughlin is going to need a little bit of luck to come on his side, because he's done his bit. He's gone into the lead.
In second priority
he's in
as
second
well.
priority, and Lucas Skinner's in first priority, so we're all set here
I wonder what Eli's wave. I didn't miss that. But
for a
poor thing.
grandstand finish.
Low tide Llantwit is not where you want to be with the flu.
Eli gets his best score of the heat, so it was a 3.73. I think what happened was the camera went with Smith to the right and Perrins-Davies went off to the left on the same wave. It's a 3.73. So we've got here now Skinner needs a much more attainable score than the others, the 5.44. Kieran Smith and Perrins-Davies, they both need roughly 7.5, 7.3 for Smith and 7.4 for Eli Perrins-Davies. And the surfers are in the lineup now. Someone's gonna. Oh, that's just Smith with.
What are we on? 3 or 4 minutes left.
Yeah, Kieran Smith without priority. Just has a look. He wants to know the situation.
So yeah, you see Kieran there waving his arms before racing out because the set's just loomed large on the horizon. It'll be Lucas Skinner with first priority. He gets pick of the waves here, and he's up and riding on a right, bouncing around the whiteboard, trying to get onto the open face. He will find a section to bounce off, and manages to get onto that open face. Unfortunately, that one fades underneath him. Lucas Skinner is looking for a 5.44. Let's watch the replay and see if it happens.
Well, I think that was Craig again on the wave behind who got the better of that exchange as well, to be honest.
I got so excited looking at the scores and I missed Craig's, but we're going to go for a replay. And here we have it. So it's the drone angle of Lucas. He bounces off the white water, trying to find some speed to get onto that open face. And he does so just as the wave kind of fades to nothing. Maybe we'll get the end of Craig.
He did incredibly well to get. See that nice turn.
Yeah, a bit of fin out the back there.
I
mean, Craig's got a lower score of 5.23. I don't think that'll replace it. And as the score drops at a 4.57,
I don't think either of those are going to go into their two.
No, I think Lucas's came in at 2.33. So no situation change except that priority has changed.
Yeah. So yeah, Lucas needed that one, but he was just behind it. Did really well to get round it, but couldn't affect his top two.
And as we look at to see there was a wave from Lucas Skinner, I believe, in yellow, a backhand bash. I'm not sure if we managed to catch that. There's a lot of water displaced, but I think it was a one manoeuvre wave. You can see Lucas making his way back into the lineup. There are just 2 minutes and 10 seconds remaining in this heat, so not long to go. The situation remains the same as far as I can see, because that last of yellow dropped at a 2.33. That means Eli Perrins-Davies is still in 4th position, Kieran Smith is still in 3rd position, Lucas Skinner is still in 2nd position, and Craig McLaughlin, surfer in red, travelled all the way down from Scotland, is in 1st position, and he has the better of the priority situation between him and yellow.
He does. Is he from Thurso way? Is he from right up at the top?
Pretty sure he's Thurso lad.
It's a long old journey, that is.
So we were chatting to some of the Scottish Groms earlier, and I'm pretty sure they've got some affiliation with the Wave in Bristol, and they stopped on their way through for some practice on their way to Llantwit, and it's certainly paid off for Craig. Up and riding there, it looks.
Is that Lucas? Because I think he's scratching around a little bit.
It's hard to see from our perspective. So again, for those of you that have recently joined us, the glare is a major factor in what we can see. That was Lucas, because we can see that he's now, the priority situation has changed once again. Fortunately, our judges are on the shoreline, so they've got a very good view, and they're relaying the scores up to us in the booth.
Eli.
On the backhand, Eli Perrins-Davis heading right, bashing the lip twice, not quite managing to ride out of that last manoeuvre, and it looked to be Kieran Smith going left on that one.
Yeah, Eli was on for a good score there if he managed to stay riding on that second manoeuvre.
So Eli's after a 7.4. There are only 30 seconds remaining, so probably a bit too much to ask to get 2 waves at that point, but he could have bumped perhaps above Kieran or even Lucas with a big enough score.
I think he could have got a high 5 if he'd have managed to squeeze some more out of that last one. But
so with just 10 seconds remaining in this under-18 boys final of the British Cup 2022, it looks to me that the winner will be the Scottish lad
Lucas
Craig
manages to pull
McLaughlin
something in this last set.
I see.
Some action.
So we've been our timer's slightly ahead
That's
of
it.
the
That's
real
it.
live timer. No waves ridden. So unofficially, it looks like we've got a Scottish under-18 boys champion.
Wow, that is...
Mark Vaughan's just entered the booth. I know that Craig caught
I'm-
Mark's eye
I am
yesterday.
really stoked
He's
for that.
caught Matt's eye today, Mark. How's that? McLaughlin win.
What a fantastic result for Scottish surfing and for Craig McLaughlin. Superb.
And for British surfing, I should say.
It just goes to show the value of this event in terms of highlighting talent from around the whole of the British Isles. So, yeah, brilliant.
So we're going to make a little change of personnel now as we go. So it's busy in the booth right now. Spud, it's been a pleasure to have you in here. Now,
No problem.
You, myself, and Blythe love to see if we can have that conversation again for Crestcast down the line in the 2023 season. So we might be in touch with you.
No, I'd love to, boys.
You already agreed to it when we did the
I did,
LBR
yeah.
episode
Yeah, you're
anyway.
right,
So there we go. We'll
problem.
come down your way and we'll have a great time. I think we're going to get another guest commentator in ever so shortly. And Spud's going to go for a walk to see the conditions. Thank you very much, and what a pleasure commentating with one of my childhood heroes, Matt Stephen. There, I'm in my oils here. What a result at the end of that heat. And Mark Vaughan is quickly popping in to say hello. We never know with Vaughnie if this is some kind of announcement or if he's just coming in to pass judgment on the action.
I've just realised all the viewers have a side profile of my nose, which is...
Well, let's get it on the TV then. Let's get that side profile of the, of the nose on the TV.
But
there it is. Look.
We got countdown.
You're there.
Last heat of the day. Wow. I'm just waiting for the announcer to finish because, guys, I just wanted to say a quick thank you to all our viewers. Everyone has tuned in to watch the event this year, and what a pleasure it's been. And I can't believe that we managed to get 2 days of sun in a row in Wales in October. The odds on that, oof, would have made some money. But Tom, I need to borrow you at some point.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
no
leave you
problem at
interview
all.
Lucy Campbell.
Okay,
Thanks,
cheers,
Mark.
Vaughnie.
And a massive thank you to Mark as well for the effort he's put in.
So we'll use that camera once or twice as well. Welcome. So this is Lucy Campbell joining us to call this last heat now as a guest commentator. How you doing, Lucy?
Yeah, good. This is a little bit scary in here.
Oh, don't worry, Lucy. Don't worry. Everyone says that when they first come in. I will warn you, Lucy. You're doing the right thing there. It's really, really warm in here, and everyone who's come in here doesn't realise how warm it is until they've been in here 10 minutes, so they don't take their coat off in time. So you can see we got the one little camera over here, and you can do a wave at that when as and when Diana, our director, jumps to it. You can see the action in the lineup out the window if you like. So we're getting each of our guest commentators. You guys at home, you're going to listen to the quick little induction to how it all works. You can choose that image there on the right that says program to watch what's being seen at home. You can also see the other beach cameras. So you can choose any of those to watch action, or you can watch it out the window. Glare is pretty intense. That's what's on TV.
Yeah, it's good on the drone though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
what we're tending to do is we're watching the action out of the window, looking to the drone to see the colour, and failing that, we're checking out the priority situation because the
Yeah.
judges are down on the water's edge and they're updating it so we can tell who's.
So what we'll
as a
do is
result of
we'll
that.
we'll hand Lucy a mic to, and if you get it as close as you can. So it is a singer mic. So you don't have to sing into it though. So don't worry.
You definitely don't want to hear that.
Yeah, and at the moment we're a little bit quiet. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a quick advert, and when we come back, we'll have the continuation of the ladies' final.
Here we
And
go.
so
Is that red?
it is. It is. You're a
How
natural at
heavy?
this, Lucy.
This is white surfing.
So
White's
this is
up.
Tegan Blackford. I don't think it's Tegan Blackford though, because it's someone on the. It's Charlotte Mully. So Charlotte Mully, Lucy's only just arrived
Has
here.
she? Yeah.
From Queensland.
From the Gold Coast.
Yeah. Have you had
Yeah.
time to meet her at all?
I haven't really. No, only we had a heat together earlier, but I hadn't had a chance to have a chat to her.
Oh, okay.
But,
Because that's amazing. So she pretty much joined the England team, like and come over from the Gold Coast. She's in the juniors as well. She's away from. She was waving at mum and dad in the camera earlier when
Was
she
she?
came in here to visit us.
I think she went out to El Salvador with the junior team earlier this year.
Okay.
I think.
And met them there, I'm presuming then. Right.
Yeah,
Okay. That's
yeah.
really interesting. Yeah. And she's from Burley Heads. You been to Burley Heads, Lucy?
I have, yeah.
Yeah.
Fun wave.
It is, isn't it? Yeah. It's not as uniform and perfect as something like the
No.
Superbank.
It's quite a tricky wave, but yeah, definitely a nice place to grow up.
Yeah, and it kind of makes it easier, if anything, though, to actually catch waves, doesn't it? Because it's like it's not absolutely perfect coming down the line, so you can sit
Yeah,
off, get a
true.
wide one, or
It sort of splits it all up a little bit.
Yeah.
Everyone gets a little chance.
exactly. First wave there for Charlotte Mully. She starts with a 3.83, which you'd hope doesn't end up coming into the equation later, because we hope to see some better surfing than that. But it's a start. It's a feet in the wax,
Yeah.
as you'd say.
I think it's kind of hard to know what strategy to go for out here when it's like this, whether to go just sort of get whatever comes to you, or whether to be patient and keep priority and wait for those like better set waves to come through.
Yeah.
I know Charlotte did really well in our final earlier to get, someone's up.
And this is white, so this is
White.
Tegan Blackford
This
this
is
time.
That one's
And,
not quite giving her a opening.
We were trying to remember, it's Tegan Blackford from Crantock. We were trying to remember
Yes.
earlier. Yes,
Yeah.
okay. So her and her sister Eva as well. They're both hot surfers, aren't they? Yeah.
Yeah.
And where are you from, Lucy?
So I'm from North Devon originally,
Right.
so Woolacombe is
Okay.
my hometown.
Yeah.
But I've been a bit of a traitor and I've moved down to Cornwall.
Okay. and you're about to say Newquay? Or?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Newquay,
you're
yeah.
in Newquay. Oh, fair enough. It's got to be done, hasn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, the facilities in Newquay and being sort of right there, and also the consistency of Fistral Beach.
Yeah, there's just so many waves around it as well, and there's
Yeah.
always something, you can always find a little corner tucked away. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
And here we go in the red then. Here we go, Alice Barton.
Hello.
So
Oh.
gets the tail up and a
Yeah.
frontside snap. Working it on the inside. Oof, an interesting
Yeah.
turn that one.
Oh,
And
but she
kicks
managed
her.
to get it in though.
Now I
Amazing.
tell you what, they're kicking out and jumping straight down into a lying down position so they don't end up with the cut feet. Your feet have been survived intact this week?
I've somehow managed to get away with no cuts, but
So you've
I've
surfed
seen some big cuts.
you've surfed a fair few heats in this event then,
Yeah.
Lucy. Which strategy have you found to be the more effective?
I was playing a bit of a kind of patient game and trying to wait for the better waves to come through, because when they come through and they hit the reef well, they're amazing shape waves, but didn't
Yeah.
pay off for me in the final, but it's all
Yeah.
good fun. Yeah.
You're surfing good.
Oh, thank
Surfing
you.
very good.
Thank you.
The final, it was a little bit more starved waves than the men's final, wasn't it? And then also I think what
Yeah.
happened was you guys were moving, the peak was moving out to sea, and it was kind of every now and then coming throughout. So it wasn't so easy to definitely use priority to get on the right waves, was it?
Yeah, it definitely hit a bit of a different bank.
Yeah.
Sort of watching Luke Dillon in the heat before, and I was like, oh, he's done well to get the two better set waves, but yeah, you got to be able to sort of change your plan and adapt to the waves, and Alice did that amazingly, and she's doing it well in this heat as well, finding those runners.
Yeah.
Like that one definitely just gave her a nice little lip line the whole way.
And so here's Belle Bettridge, and I think this is her first wave of the heat, and doesn't quite find as fast a section as the other surfers so far, so Belle will probably go back to the drawing board on that one. You've had a good year then, Lucy, by most people's standards. I'm interested in whether it's a good year by your standards. At Boardmasters you were the highest placed British female surfer, weren't you? Or in fact,
Yeah.
well, no, highest no, Job Harris was in the men's final, wasn't he? But
Yeah,
you were in the
highest placed
semi-finals.
woman.
Highest placed woman surfer.
Yeah.
And then the Worlds this year, and you got a 9 at one point in that, and here goes the surfer in red, Alice Barton on the left.
Oh, she's doing so well to pick off those ones with a bit more of a wall on them.
Yeah. Barton got a 7.17 for her first wave. And I think I reckon the first of Barton will score higher than the second of Barton myself.
Yeah.
So we'll see where that other one comes in. I think though it'll be the second highest scoring wave of the heat for me. That would be my guess. We're allowed to get our predictions wrong here in commentary, Lucy. Tell me about so you've just been to the Worlds and you got a 9-point ride.
Yeah, I mean, the Worlds is amazing to be able to get sort of a few heats in and get that groove going, and it felt good to be able to get some heats under the belt. You know, with QSs it can be, we got someone up and riding.
That was Tegan Blackford.
Yeah, it was good to sort of get some momentum going and figure out the banks a little bit more and just get some like heat practice in, I guess.
You been to Huntington Beach much before?
No, I went once before, but I was surfing the contest at Oceanside.
Okay.
I just got one or two little surfs in at Huntington.
Oh, so that was the QS that they do at nearly the same time of year down there.
Yeah, the Supergirl Pro.
Supergirl Pro, that's it. Yeah, I was flitting between the two.
Yeah.
And it was interesting. They obviously must have agreed with the Worlds what day it was going to run, because a lot of girls were able to do the two events, weren't they?
Yeah, they held off the women's for the first 3 days of the contest.
To let the Supergirl Pro finish.
The Supergirl Pro finish, and then they started the women's event alongside the men's.
So that gave you the top result out of any of the UK girls in the world. So you've been the highest placed UK girl in the world, you're the highest placed UK girl in Boardmasters, and you've done a couple of other QSs this year.
Yeah.
Good year by your standards?
Yeah, I think there's definitely been a lot of, like, you know, maybe not the results I was hoping for, but I think a lot of lessons learnt, and you know, with wins and losses you just sort of got to learn what you can from them and move forward and put that forward to the next contest.
And what are your views or goals about the coming years? What we got up and coming here, the surfer in white. So this is Tegan
nice
Blackford.
Didn't quite get down it again.
No. Barton with a 5.33 for her second wave. So she is in I would describe it as an increasingly comfortable position. Tegan Blackford needed a 9.5 on that. So realistically, 9.5 isn't a single wave score in these conditions that easily. So
unless you get a nug.
Yeah, and they're out there. And as the tide turns, which is in it's 29 minutes time. But we do get the surf does start to come through at low, doesn't it?
Yeah, I've been noticing during this heat actually is you get that time of slack water, don't you, where the ebb of the tide decreases to a point where the swell can start to get sucked back into the channel.
Okay.
And I've been watching it during this heat. As the heat's progressed, we are now down to just over 8.5 minutes. So we're a good 12 minutes into this heat. And with every minute that's passing, I reckon that each set's getting bigger. So in 8 minutes' time, we might be seeing a few of those nugs that you described, Lucy. We see a set approaching the lineup now as it goes.
So it might be those girls that are sort of holding on to priority and using that technique. It might pay off in the last little bit of the heat.
I noticed that our heat leader Alice Barton has second priority, and surfer in third, Charlotte Mully, has first priority, but Charlotte Mully requires an 8.67 at this point. So Tom called it correctly. The second of Alice Barton came in at a 5.33. So it wasn't on par with her first, a 7.17. However, it did set her up very nicely, didn't it? If you're Alice at this point, Lucy, you're in first, but you've got second priority. You've got a backup score of a 5.33. What are you going to do? You're going to stick with priority and see how the rest of the heat plays out?
Yeah, I think once you get to that sort of situation, you'll only probably take waves that are going to increase your score. Unless you're being tactical and you just want to block someone else off of a wave.
As we are saying just that, we see a ride for both Alice Barton and Charlotte Mully.
Yeah.
So they're obviously not listening to us. All that's gone out the window. Charlotte Mully, of course, having to get busy, requiring an 8.67. However, Alice Barton is now at the back, will be at the back of the queue for priority. So perhaps, I wouldn't say it's a falter because she's in first, but as the heat progresses, we may see that come back to bite her. Tegan Blackford requires actually a 9.5, which is, in these conditions,
she's just lessened it,
quite difficult. Charlotte Mully, however, has just posted a 5.10.
Nice.
So now she's looking to replace a 3.83. She now only requires a 7.4. So she's taken a good point off the requirement.
Yeah.
So definitely worth Charlotte going on that one. Alice has actually got the priority over Charlotte. So what do I know? Alice Barton exercising excellent heat technique.
Yeah, and I mean, there's still only, Belle's only had one wave so far. Charlotte's only had two. So there's still, still time.
It's
to
doable,
get
isn't
some
it?
more scores in, yeah.
Yeah.
Alice did well to get her scores in early and can now just sort of sit and be picky.
She's
We'll
not being
see.
picky, mate. She's
not.
going
oh,
again.
She's up again.
Keep you
Oh,
busy.
nice.
Do you know, this is the first heat today when Alice has gone for a high volume of inquiries approach.
Mm-hmm.
For the rest of the event so far, she's tended to just catch one or two waves and be really selective.
She's keeping busy. Oh,
the
that's a lovely
backhand.
turn.
Charlotte,
lovely.
Charlotte Mully.
Two big whacks, 3 big whacks.
Yeah.
That'll definitely move her up the rankings. So she's in need of a 7.4.
7.4.
Which
I'm not sure. I mean, it would mean that it was the wave of the heat. I mean,
Yeah.
it was a good wave.
it was a good wave.
I
It's
think it'll-
definitely going to lower. Here we go.
Yeah, you're right.
Is that it dropping
525.
in now?
Yeah.
525s.
So it's dropped the requirement ever so slightly.
3. Yeah.
Brought it down by a decimal point, which could make all the difference. So she now needs a 7.27
Yeah.
if she's going to do it in one wave. So Charlotte Mully surfs with a. We've been talking about this, Lucy. That there's a she's a powerful surfer. Here goes Barton on the right. Oh, and that's a fins up and out, and a huge frontside
Nice
snap,
wrap.
and another one, and then kicks out, and we're going to get another look at that first turn here for Alice Barton. And we can see here from the drone angle, down she goes. Whack!
Nice.
What do we call that?
Nice.
A tail waft at least.
Yeah.
Ever so
She
slightly.
does it so well to generate speed in these smaller waves.
Ever so slightly airborne. Almost.
Yeah.
I think, Lucy, she's looking to
That's
replace a
coming in
5.33. Do you think
I
she's
think
done
that
it?
might, because that was her left was the 5.
Yeah.
Oh, it's coming in.
Oh.
7. Another, so she sat on 2 7s.
So
Amazing.
Do you know what I love about that number? 7.27. It's the score Charlotte Mully needed.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if Barton did that deliberately. But that is, I mean, and now 9.21, that's almost a combo. That, in fact, Lucy, I don't know if you'd want to see Charlotte Mully get a 9.21 now, because do you know what that would mean?
Oh, would it?
If
can't
Charlotte
remember
Mully
what
gets
mine was, actually.
yours was a 9.17.
Yeah, no, she doesn't. She can't.
So Lucy, for Charlotte Mully to win this event, she would have to displace you as the highest scoring single wave of the whole event.
Do it in 2 waves. It's fine.
I tell you what, tell us about that 9 you got yesterday, Lucy.
Yeah, I mean, kind of a lucky one, really. I sort of paddled for the wave before and sort of knew that I was sat a bit too deep, and then the set came in a little bit deeper, and the girl with priority just missed it, and so I just happened to be in the right place.
At what point in that ride did you know? If I remember rightly, it was 3 big backhand.
Yeah,
turns.
like a carve off the first, and it was just a wave that came through that didn't have.
And then a drawn out bottom turn into a big
into a
12
snap.
o'clock, yeah.
And then sort of a little redirect back to see if it would give me anything
Yeah.
else. But just one that didn't have so much like chop on the face.
At what point in that ride did you know that you were on your way to something like
Sort of when I pulled off, I was like, oh, thank goodness! Like I finally got a little rhythm. Like
Right, okay, and then when you heard them call out the 9,
I couldn't actually hear it out there. It wasn't until I got to the beach.
oh, wasn't it? Oh, you have to play the YouTube video back, because I think I called it, didn't I? In that I did,
Yeah,
and
did you?
I said we've just seen a 9. now I'm gonna really I'm gonna make Rob have to explain himself here. I think you disagreed with me at the time, didn't you?
Ooh.
I did. I was going for a bigger score. It was a
Were you? Yeah.
9.5, I think I said. That's when I lost the 5p to Tom, and then I won it back today. So we've got just 1 minute and 50 seconds remaining in this heat. The situation is that Belle Betteridge representing, in fact, everybody's representing England. It's an all-England final. Belle Betteridge, it's surfer in yellow, is in 4th. Tegan Blackford, surfer in white, is in 3rd. Charlotte Mully, surfer in blue, is in 2nd. And out in front is Alice Barton, sitting on a total of 14.4. That's from a 7.17 and a 7.27. Up and riding now, we see Alice Barton on a victory lap, a big down carve there, displacing loads of water, but unfortunately with that carve lost a lot of speed and couldn't actually get back out into the open face. So I'm pretty certain it will not go into her top 2, but at this point I think she's feeling pretty secure.
I think she's pretty comfy. I don't know, I didn't see what prior she was in, whether she sort of took that wave off of someone else.
She was in second priority there.
Okay.
So that's about to update. Belle Betteridge and Tegan Blackford are currently in a combination situation as a result of Alice's previous waves.
And Belle just lost priority, so she must have paddled for something.
It looks that way.
Yeah.
Charlotte Mully is the only person that can conceivably beat Alice Barton at this late stage in the heat, because she requires just one wave to better Barton. However, that wave would have to be 9.21 or above, and in the current conditions, and with just 25 seconds remaining and not an awful lot on the horizon. So we can hear 40 seconds on the beach mic, so our time is a little bit behind the beach, but the girls can hear the beach commentator, so that's not a problem. So it's about 25 seconds left in real time. There's not much.
There doesn't seem to be much on the horizon.
Not much happening, so...
Oh, there's a little something. There's a paddle.
I think
there's going to be waves for him, but they're little.
So Mully looked to get into that one. She'll have lost priority, and there we have it.
There we go.
I think it's safe to say that Alice Barton has done the British Cup double, taking out the women's division and the under-18 girls division.
Yeah.
Impressive stuff,
solid.
Lucy.
Yeah, super
impressive. A good weekend out for Alice, I dare say.
Now, we don't know if that's been done before. We've got Linda Sharp nearby. From my... Look at that. Look at that. The drone is coming in now. Look at that view of Colhew Point.
Oh,
there it is.
Gorgeous.
This is the drone coming home. And I tell you what, I don't know whether... I think Director Diana is going to stay with the drone as it comes all the way in, guys. So you can see now the journey. You can find now, Lucy, you haven't got any skin to try and find on that reef, apparently, but lots of the surfers in this event.
I think Luke did.
Oh, and here comes the drone. Here it comes in. So we were just saying there's various bits of surfers' skin in there. And this is the drone coming home. We will actually be able to wave as the drone arrives, and this is coming in. You'll see now a presentation position being set up.
Oh,
and
gorgeous angle. Such a beautiful little part of the world.
It's great, isn't it?
Yeah.
You've been up here much before, Lucy?
I haven't. No, my first time here.
Really?
But I'm only.
What, in Wales or in?
No, I've been to Wales before.
Yeah.
First time to Llantwit.
Is it really?
But I mean, I'm usually only just across the.
It's literally you can see it.
Yeah.
And that's
Here
us.
we go. It's quiz night, Lucy.
Go on.
It's quiz night. I'm going down to the quiz later on. So here's one for you. Do you know which beach town? I'm not going to give the game away too closely, but lies directly opposite where we are now at Llantwit Major. I'm going to go with Porlock. You're not far wrong. Porlock is a touch to the east.
She knows the coast.
Yeah, we're pretty much directly opposite Lynmouth here.
Lynmouth. Oh, are we?
Yes.
If you can actually. You're right.
So you can see the valley straight across.
That's the big tall moor. Yeah. Oh, don't forget Lucy's not holding a mic there. That's the big tall moor that you can see there, Lucy.
Yeah, okay.
And if you look, you can actually see that really steep road down into Lynmouth, nearly directly opposite us, kind of cutting in the coastline.
Yeah.
And then at the bottom you can see a sort of a flatter area, and that's Lynmouth just down there. Surf Lynmouth a lot coming from Mollacombe?
Yeah, sort of as soon as it's sort of bigger, stormier swells, we get in the car and get up there.
And
it's
so
like
that
30-minute drive from where
that
I'm
would
from,
explain
so
your 9.17 yesterday then. So you get plenty of practice on the backhand.
Did feel a lot like Lynmouth out there actually.
Yeah. Well, do you know, Lucy, I'm going to thank you for your time here in the booth with us today. It's been a real pleasure to have one of the greats of British surfing calling one of the current greats calling on. I think we're going to this is our little post show position. We're not quite as pro as the WSL here.
We'll get there,
we turn around and this is the Rob, you've got more of a Ronnie Blakey voice than me, so you can sort of do your welcome to the post show.
Yeah, what are we calling it? Are we calling it the post show? Yeah. Well, welcome everybody. If anybody's still sticking with us, do we know if we're having the presentation on camera?
No, I don't think we can.
No presentation on camera, but you've seen the results so far. If you want to check out any of the results that you've missed, you can find them on the WSF website. Simply type in WSF and British Cup and you'll find all the information you'll need. You can check back on any heat scores that you've seen, and also, if you can be bothered, not only listen to us and everything we've talked about, but more importantly, see all of the action, including Lucy's 9.17, was it?
9.17.
9.17. So you can look at that from yesterday. What's this 5p for now? 5p. This is the famous 5p that Tom and I have been betting all afternoon. I'm going to let you keep it because once again, I had the score before you earlier, so I conned you again. I tricked you. I pulled the wool over your eyes when you were betting. Whose wave was it? Was it Alice's? And you bet it was an 8, and I said I think it's coming in just under. I think I said it was a 7.93, but you misheard that. So, Tom,
did you get in the judging tower?
Well, what was happening is I had access to the screen that was delivering the scores.
Slightly cheating.
It was a minute ahead of everything that Tom was seeing.
Yeah.
So Tom was like, "Oh, I think that was an 8." And I'd go, "No, it's coming just under for my money." And we'd have a bet, and that's how it came about. And this is the 5p that Tom found on the floor, and it's been exchanged back and forth. The reason being, every now and again, just to keep Tom interested and not give the game away, I'd pretend that I was getting a score wrong now and again. So it kept him interested. But ladies and gents, we're going to wrap up here. Thank you, Lucy, for your insight and talking us through that last heat, the under-18 girls final. We're all going to go outside for the presentation in a moment. And Lucy, you probably want to get out there as well, because we're going to hear about the official results. Although we all kind of know them, we're going to see everybody receive their wonderful trophies as well.
A diolch a pawb am edrych hefyd. Thanks to everyone for watching.
Amazing. And thank you, Tom, for your commentary all afternoon. I think you're about to run the presentation, aren't you?
Apparently so.
So you better get your socks on. Get out there and
skates on.
We're going to sign off here. Thank you, everybody, for following us over the past few days. Everybody in all of the home nations and further afield. We've had people viewing from as far as Australia.
Amazing.
Perhaps even further, from as far as Australia that we know of.
Does it get much further?
Antarctica station, maybe.
Put
I don't
5p
know.
on it.
We'll see. Anywho, thank you, everybody, for your time today, and catch you next time, I hope.
Hear the rocket all day and night. The world is noisy, and that's alright. Every sound is just a piece of the natural rattle. So unwind and don't unravel. We can't help but be a little fragile through the clatters inside.
So test. We're testing Matt Vaughan's mic. Is it working? Let's find out.
Table speaker.
Testing again. Testing the lapel mic for Mark Vaughan.
This is coming closer, I think.
Okay, that was a bit loud. We're testing again, testing again. Hopefully this won't hurt your eardrums.
Testing the microphone. Hi. Testing. Testing the microphone. See if it's working. Ready for the award ceremony.
to ready for the award ceremony. I was just.
I think.
Yeah.
To gather around our competitors. I think there's one or two still getting changed from the last heat. Just give us a few moments and the presentation can get underway. Now, if you could, it would appease the sponsors, and we'd be very grateful. Obviously, it's not compulsory, but we would very much appreciate it. Okay, guys, I think we're pretty much in a position to start this presentation. The cable stretch there. Okay, well, firstly, I think I have to say a few words. Unfortunately, I'll try and make this as quick as possible. But I'm very proud that to host the Vista Sister 2022 British Cup at my home turf of Llantwit Major. This event has brought the best surfers from around the country, the Channel Islands, England, Scotland, Wales, and the under-18 girls, boys, men's and women, to compete not only for British titles, British points, but potentially for British team places, to compete at the ISA World Championships, and hopefully Olympic success in qualification for Paris 2024, for which the Olympics, the Paris 2024 for surfing, is actually taking place in Tahiti, which is just a short 12, 15-hour flight away. But guys, as you've probably seen, we've been very blessed with the weather and the waves this weekend. It has been challenging at times, but I must say, I've seen some fantastic surfing action, really enjoyed watching the competition, and I hope you've all enjoyed surfing here. I'm sure some of you have been nursing a few wounds to your feet, thanks to the barnacles. But a massive thank you to the home nation teams that have all travelled some incredible distances from John O'Groves, Jersey, Guernsey, Land's End, and beyond. So to our home nations, competitors, officials, team managers, etc., supporters, fans, thank you for making the journey down to Wales. Big hand, please. Of course, we do have some thank yous, official thank yous to do, and I'm going to roll through these as quick as possible without being unkind to the people that supported us. The Vale of Glamorgan Council for granted us permission to run this event here, along with putting some porta cabins to help aid with the officiating. Getting Edwards, Llantwit Major lifeguards, and all the lifeguards that have helped support not only the local surf club, the Welsh Surfing Federation, but now British Surfing. Accommodation locally, White Lion West House Hotel, that I know some of the teams have been housed in this weekend, and Maria at the Beach Cafe and her staff for kindly looking after our staff all weekend and feeding them. Big hand, please. To the WSF supporters, Power to Go, Milepost, Christian Surfers Wales, Refresh, Live Scoring System, JPL Sound, and J&S Products, who provided our team kit. Our trophies, which have been very kindly handmade, the men's and women's winners' trophies by Nick Robato. I know some of you would have seen the videos online, but it took quite some time. I'm very grateful to Nick. Our sponsor, Whistler sister, Matt Stephen. Matt, if you don't know, is an exceptional surfer. Retired a little while ago from competition, but the fact that he supported British and Welsh surfing and all the home nations for this event, we're exceptionally grateful. So thank you very much to all our sponsors and supporters. Our media team, which consists of the Crest podcast team of Tom Anderson and Rob Blythe, have done a sterling job with commentary, as well, of course, our camera people, Diana, Max, Josh, Reese, and Craig Nichol, who's probably situated somewhere with a camera pointed at me right now. Sorry, turn the page. Our websites, socials, Sam Johnson, Steve White, and our WSF judges and officials, and along with the home nations officials and team managers, for the exceptionally hard job and long weekend that you've had officiating and judging, which at times has been challenging. Massive hand, big hand to those people, please.
more watered down, Craig Burrows, Morgan, Beach Marshal, Callum Thomas, who has been given his scores, priority, etc. throughout the weekend. Our WSF team of Gwen, Linda, Craig's, both of you, Jeff, Jamie Bateman, Steve, Saga, Hugh, the whole WSF team, Paul Killer Stewart, everyone, thank you ever so much for your support. And a special mention to a number of people that have really made this event a success this weekend. And I think a big shout out to the local surf community, Channel Coast Surf Club, who are guided and chaired by Curtis Hancock. And the guys have kept out of the water all weekend, and this morning the conditions were fairly nice, and I think that's a massive, massive round of applause for the local surfing community in Perth, please. So as I say, a couple of people there, Hugh John, Tim Aylett, Jamie Bateman, Craig Nichol, Curtis, my family, and the missus who hasn't really been able to speak or have a conversation with me for over a week, Beth. Guys, thank you. Your support has been incredible. Couldn't have done it without you. Legends. Lastly, to my Welsh surfing teammates, good on you guys. Well done. Represented us proudly. That's it. I'm going to hand you over to Tom for the results. Thank you very much, Tom.
Thanks, Ronnie. Yeah, no. Oh, time. Before I go into the results, Ronnie, don't go anywhere, because as a token of the Welsh Surfing Federation's appreciation, I'm trying to work out where to stand to avoid the feedback over here. I'm the feedback. As a token of the Welsh Surfing Federation's appreciation of what Mark Vaughan has done, we've got a little present to give him. But we've got to point out quite why you've earned this present, because I don't think I've come across anybody at a surfing contest who puts in quite the same hours that you do. And I have to say that I remember, people who've run events in the past, Herbie, Linda, when they were in the thick of doing it. I think to actually also compete, to get involved in a surfing contest is now a much bigger thing than it used to be. There's organising the media stuff, there's organising the sponsors, there's the permissions, there's talking to the Coast Guard, they're coming by to. It's a guard of honour flying by, an appreciation of you here, Vaughnie. And Vaughnie's also able to get companies on board, get people on board, and it's a rapport that Vaughnie has built with people like the Beach Cafe and with the council, that he's able to move things so quickly. So we can have a massive round of applause for Vaughnie while I get the present out. I'll just put a rock on my notes there. The Welsh Surfing Federation have bought you a bottle of whiskey which they believe is the perfect brand for you. I don't know if it's Scottish or not actually. American.
Knob Creek.
What's that one? Knob Creek whiskey. Big round of applause to Mark Vaughan. No nominative determinism going on there at all. So a big hand, well done, Mark Vaughan. Thank you very much. Right, see if I can get my papers in order from the wind again and avoid the feedback. First things first, guys, great surfing. 896 waves ridden in this event, 10 excellent waves, and I think they were shared amongst just a small number of people. 56 good waves, so a lot of really good surfing. The highest score of the contest, 9.17, Lucy Campbell, and shared by Lucas Skinner as well, who also got a 9.17. We had Luke Dillon with a 9, so really, really good scores there. And the best heat totals, Lucas Skinner, Luke Dillon, again, so those names are coming up time and again, and these are the guys who are putting British surfing on the map, so among others. So a big hand to those guys for the great surfing they've done. And we're going to come to the results then. So I'm going to start with the junior boys, and Mark Vaughan, as a previous junior British champion, is going to hand the trophies over. And so I'm going to invite the surfers up, and as we said, if you could please put your rash vests on for the official pictures. So we'll do the rash vest first, yeah. And so I'll call up, if I can just call up the finalists first of all. So that's in 4th place Eli Perrins-Davis, in 3rd place Kieran Smith, Lucas Skinner in 2nd, and Craig McLaughlin the winner. So if you guys can come up please and put on the colour that you were wearing in the final. And then we'll call you over to come and get your prize. Yeah. Does that work for a running order, Bonnie? Okay, so we'll have this small administrative break here while the boys put their vests on. So you can see the quality of a Whistler and Sister product here, that they're able to stretch like this. And so the boys get their vests on, and then we'll get on with the awarding, which is the bit that they really want to do. So I'm going to start then with the surfer who came in 4th place. So if you come and collect your trophy, and then you can make your way over to the podium. So big hand, local lad, well done. Eli Perrins-Davis in 4th place. And in 3rd place, Kieran Smith. Well done, Kieran. 2nd place, Lucas Skinner. And that means that the 2022 Whistler Sister British Cup champion is Craig McLaughlin. And there he is in the Scottish flag. So we'll go over there for a quick picture, and then we will ask Craig to come over here, and hopefully we can do it without getting that horrible feedback in everybody's ears, and we'll see if we can have a quick word with the newly minted British Cup champion. So let's give them all a big hand, guys. He gets the Scottish flag, the St Andrew's Cross, I believe it's called, over his head. Well done, well done. And Craig, if you're able to come over for a quick word, it'd be lovely to catch your thoughts. And then perhaps while Craig does that, if I can call the junior girls to come and put the colour vest on, or the other 3 junior girls, and then one of you can wait for the vest for Craig. If you can come and put your vests on. Craig, no, because they might take a picture as well while we're talking, and also yours will come up easy, won't it? So Craig, well, I'm going to ask the obvious question. How do you feel?
Good, yeah. It's cool to win the British, I guess. The waves were pretty bad, but it was everyone got waves, so happy days.
Have you done here many times before?
No, this is my first time in Wales.
Wow. Okay. Well, Wales have been kind to you and putting Scotland on the map. This is the start of great things.
Yeah, hopefully.
Big hand for Craig McLaughlin. Okay. Well done, Craig. And so then, if you can just pass your vest over, Craig, to whoever was wearing that colour. Fantastic. And we've got the junior girls. And so, I think what we've done is we've tried our best to find a former winner of this event for each of the categories to award, to hand the awards out. And so here now, a former junior girl winner of the British Cup, it's Gwen Spurlock. So welcome to your new role here, Gwen. Passing on the baton to future generations. And Gwen, of course, has been doing that for British surfing for some years now. And so we'll congratulate each of these surfers individually. They've all made it to the final of a really hard event here. And so a big hand, first of all, to the surfer in 4th, Belle Bettridge from England. Well done, Belle. And the surfer in 3rd, Tegan Blackford. Well done, Tegan. And in 2nd place, Charlotte Mully. Well done, Charlotte. And the winner and the 2022 Whistler Sister British Cup Junior Girls Champion, among many other titles this year. What a year she's had or having. It's Alice Barton. Well done, Alice. And Alice ascends the podium, and look at that for a trophy. There we go. So let's take a photo of these guys, and then we'll ask if Alice wants to come over for a quick word while the other three can start to pass their vests on to the ladies finalists, please. And then maybe Alice might want to come over for a quick word. So here she comes. A big hand for Alice Barton, everybody. What a result. So, Alice, we keep meeting like this. It's good, isn't it?
Yeah, it's nice, yeah.
So, earlier on, like, it's no surprise that there might be another trophy coming your way today. But this one, obviously, the second event that you've picked up today. How did you feel going into this final? Because obviously, once you'd won the hard one, it was all about trying to do the double, wasn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, all the girls were ripping, and it was like super fun to compete against them. And yeah, I was pretty tired actually going to round 3, but yeah, I'm not really good with early mornings, as Callum and Logan know. But it's okay, it's fine. Pull it off.
And I saw you kept kicking out in that final, straight down to prone on your board. Was that to try and keep your feet clean?
Yeah, I was actually wearing boots, but I'm trying not to destroy my new boards, which I've already done. So yeah, hopefully they're okay.
Well, I've got a feeling we might be talking again very shortly. So big hand. What a result. Well done. Alice Barton, everyone. In fact, I just noticed Alice doesn't need to hand the jersey over to the other person from the final, because I think you were in the same colour in both. And so we've got a former event champion to hand these ones out, and this is the greatest surfer, the GOAT, the greatest surfer of all time in British surfing, Linda Sharp. So give her a big hand, everyone. We did try to work out how many titles Linda Sharp had when we spoke to her early last year, and if you add the swimming ones, wasn't it 23 or something like that? So yeah, what a person to have presenting today. And so we come to the results. And first of all, we'll congratulate the surfer in 4th, although I think this might be happening in absentia by the looks of things, but that is Victoria Farmer. So well done, Victoria. And in 3rd place, Lucy Campbell. Well done, Lucy. So Lucy ascends the podium. Another surfer who's been having a great year. Has been having, I'm sure it's going to continue being great. 2nd place, come quite a long way for this one. It's a great start to her time on these shores, and this is Charlotte Mully. Well done, Charlotte. Now, if the Mulleys are still watching from Australia, they will have stayed up all night by now. But why not? Because their daughter's done really well. So a big hand, well done, Charlotte. And then the winner, and doing the double, and winning the Brit. And we're not sure if this has been done before. I don't know, Lynn. Has it been done before? Linda would know if it has.
I'm not sure. We've tried to find out. There's only one person that might have done it, and that would be Ellie Turner, but we don't know.
Ellie Turner. We don't know for sure. Okay. So we've had these conversations. We're not sure. So for possibly the first time, it's a double for Alice Barton, everyone. And here she is. And what a trophy. Handmade by Nick Robato. She's trying to deftly balance her surfboard, trying to not do any further damage to it. We won't ask her to raise it high above her head there then, because we could be going back to the ding repair bay if we do. Oh, she's going for it. And here we go. Oh, there we go. Oh, and the surfboard. Bit of help there from Lucy Campbell. Bit of camaraderie between them. It seems a bit odd to bring Alice over for another word, but she may well have one. Do you want to come over for another? Yeah, she. Now, Alice, the last time that I gave Alice a first place trophy on a podium, she used the opportunity to get the crowd to tell her parents to let her stay up late or something, wasn't it, to go to the festival, I think. You ended up going?
No, I didn't win that argument actually, but it was alright. I went to France instead. It was fine.
Can't complain. So Mum and Dad sort of got their way. Now, obviously, Mum and Dad are going to be delighted, but I bet you're delighted. I mean, it's incredible. You're a junior, but you're competing with the rest of them.
Yeah, I'm really happy. Like, thank you to everyone for coming down to watch and everyone competing. Everyone was looking like so good, and my sponsors and John for making me boards, and my parents for driving me everywhere, and Elliot back at home telling me I'm still rubbish. Yeah.
Good on you, Elliot. Right. Well, you're not still rubbish, Alice. What a result. Well done. Alice Barton, everyone. Alice Barton. Okay, and then we'll bring up the men's finalists, please. And they can come and put the... I don't know whether one or two of them are demurring the idea of putting the vest on. I think you'll have Craig Burrows to answer to if you're not putting that vest on. So we'll just take an administrative moment while this happens. And let's not forget that there is also the actual British Cup to be awarded after this, the team result. Okay, here we go. They're getting ready. It's a little bit like being backstage in some sort of catalogue shoot, this is, isn't it? Here we go. We're modelling. I don't know, it's a good question. Modelling, yeah, we're modelling ways of living. And they're doing it very well. Here we go. I tell you what, that's a look, isn't it? It's a boy band. What would we call them? One Direction, Two Directions, because they do both left and right. Okay, so here we go. Right, and I believe that the closest we can find to a former champion to award these ones is Matt Stephen, who has also won a British Cup men's in the past. So here he is, Matt Stevens from Business Sister. Here we go. So Matt is going to be handing out these awards. Okay, so let's start now. He was also in the other event, so he's had a busy weekend, surfed just about as many heats as he possibly can, short of going through the rapid charges on the way. So it's the boys' champion, and here he is in the final first one. In fourth place, it's Craig McLaughlin from Scotland. Well done, Craig. And in third place, from Wales, it's Logan Nicol. Down, Logan. Here we are, and he's wrapped in a dry gore from my hen lard from Hadley, from the old land of our fathers, and there he is, Logan Nicol, the local favourite. And then second place. It is a reversal of last year's result, and so in second place it is Stanley Norman. Well done, Stanley. And the winner, the 2022 Whistler Sister British Cup champion, men's champion, it is Luke Dillon. Luke Dillon. Okay. Well done, Luke. Now then, Luke picks up one of the Nick Robato trophies as well. And he's going to see if he can get up the podium without dinging his board. He's dinged his feet already. Here he goes. He's going to get a bit of help from his fellow competitors. They've forgiven him for that 9-point ride. And Luke's going to see if he can pull off what Alice pulled off, which is getting it above his head without dinging his board. Luke. Luke Dillon. Right. Luke Dillon. Well done. Okay. And I think we'll take a few photos of the boy band while they're still available. I reckon. Would they be on a major label or one of those sort of more kind of hipster lower labels? I'm not quite sure. And then we'll have a quick word with Luke before we find out which of these nations is taking home the big one. So Luke, he's going to bring it with him. It's that precious, and he makes his way. So Luke, let's start with you've addressed last year's result, and now you are the British Cup champion.
Yeah, it was, like I said to you, it wasn't on my mind. And then the story was that we were walking out to the final in the water, got to knee-high water, and Stan turns around to me and says, "Do you remember when I smoked you in the British final last year in Scotland?" So he definitely put a little bit of fire in there, if it wasn't already in there, but we had a good little giggle and a little hug afterwards, so it's all love.
So Stanley poked the bear. And what a bear to poke. Huge scores this weekend, and you've had a great result in the ISA Worlds as well. Or I know you were frustrated with it, but it was still the best result that any of the Brits have had. So you're on a tear. You feeling good?
Yeah, I'm just a little bit more relaxed now. The last sort of 4 months has been good, and I remember saying to you that Pat and Logs and Stan and Barnaby and the boys coming out on the QSs has sort of reignited a fire, and I'm definitely around for a few more years, so they're going to have to wait their turn.
Epic. You know, I kind of feel like that's the sign-off. So the youngsters are going to have to wait their turn. Luke, we might be seeing you again shortly. I'm not sure who. Well, we'll get. If you go back to your team, and we'll see whether or not Luke's efforts has managed to keep the cup over Offers Dyke. Okay, I have the team results, and here we go. So I'm going to do a very quick breakdown so that you can see where these points have come from. And so when it comes to the under-18 boys, I can confirm that England scored 2,645 points, Scotland 2,300, Wales 2,120, and the Channel Islands 2,275. So that was England, Scotland, Channel Islands, Wales after the junior boys was tallied up. Bringing the junior girls into that, and all of a sudden England go into overdrive. 3,260 points picked up for the junior girls, and Wales pick up 2,275, Scotland 2,165, and the Channel Islands 450. We come into the women's, and yet again England do the same thing. 3,260 points for the women's, England. 2,055 points for Scotland, 2,275 for Wales, and the Channel Islands 450. And then into the men's, and the Channel Islanders look to try and see if they could right some of those earlier wrongs. So again, a big performance from England, 2,970 points for England in that event. Wales, 2,285, and the Channel Islands, 2,115 points for the boys from the Channel Islands, 1,970 for Scotland. It brings us to the following results. In fourth place with 5,290 points. It's the Channel Islands team. Well done, guys. It has been great to see all of the nations of British surfing really coming out as contenders in any of these categories now. It was very, very close. It was very, very close. In third place, 8,490 points. Dim Oralban team from Scotland. Which means that Anna Ryan O'Shea in second place, the team O'Gumry, and the winners, the champions, 12,130 points. Come up and help yourselves to the trophy, guys. Everyone local, just look the other way for a minute. They've done it on our turf, but hats off if you're wearing one. Team England, well done, guys. From the Graffiade. And Luke Dillon, he's leading the way. Here they come. Although he's hobbling, which means that Lucas and Stan are overtaking him really. Here they come. And so we've had the boy band now. This is the backing dancers. And here we are, Team England. And they're going to go up to that podium. And then I don't know if we've got a firework or any confetti, but I think there might be a little moment here as they raise this trophy. Dylan comes around the back. Let's see, I don't know how rehearsed Team England are in trophy lifting, but when he comes, so in he comes. And here we go, it's going to go in the air, and then let's see. One. Yeah, Team England! Team England. Welcome, congratulations, Diane. And that's that. So what remains to be said is a massive diolch yn fawr iawn I pawb sy'n wedi bod i'r traeth heddiw. Thank you to everyone who came to the beach today. Thank you to everyone who's competed. Thank you to everyone who put their efforts into running a great event. And we'll gwelwch chi y blwyddyn nesa. See you next year. Thank you.
One last word. Please leave the beach as you found it. Take your rubbish home. Safe travels to all our competitors' teams. Safe travels. See you soon.